Now we study system requirements. Output examples. The website must report online volume statistics every 4 hours and hourly during peak periods. The inventory system must produce a daily report showing the part number, descriptions, quantity on hand, quantity allocated, quantity available, and unit cost of all stored by part number. The contract management system must generate a daily reminder list for all sales receipts. The purchasing system must provide suppliers with up-to-date specifications. Input examples. Manufacturing employees must sweep their ID card into online data collection terminals that record labor costs and calculate production efficiency. The department head must enter overtime hours on a separate screen. Student grades must be entered on machine scannable forms prepared by the instructor. Each input form must include date, time, product code, customer number, and quantity. Data entry screens must be uniform except for background color, which can be changed by the user. A data entry person at the medical group must input patient services into the billing system. And then processing examples. The student record system must calculate the GPA at the end of each semester. As the final step in year-end processing, the payroll system must update employee salaries, bonuses, and benefits, and produce tax data required by the IRs. The warehouse distribution system must analyze daily order and create routing patterns for delivery trucks that maximize sufficiency and reduce necessary mileage. The human resource system must interface properly with the existing payroll system. The equipment rental system must not execute new rental transactions for customers who have overdue accounts. The prescription system must automatically generate an insurance claim form. The system must support 25 users online simultaneously. Response time must not exceed 4 seconds. The system must be operational 7 days a week, 365 days or year. The accounts receivable system must prepare customer statements by the third business day of the following month. The student record system must produce class lists within 5 hours after end of the registrations. The online inventory control system must flag all low stock items within 1 hour after the quantity falls below a predetermined minimum. Last example is control. The system must provide logon security at the operating system level and at the application level. An employee record must be added, changed, or deleted only by a member of Human Resources Department. The system must maintain separate levels on security for users and the system administrator. All transactions must have audit trails. The manager of the sales department must approve order that exceed the customer's credit limit. The system must create an error log file that includes the error types, description, and time. A system's ability to handle increased business volume and transaction in the future, we are called it scalability. A scalable system offers a better return on the initial investment. To evaluate the scalability, you need information about projected future volume for all outputs, inputs, and processes. Total cost of ownership is especially important if the development team is evaluating several alternatives. One problem is that cost to estimate tends to understand indirect cost. Next slide is focus on fact-finding techniques. Fact-finding, you must identify the information you need. Differences between asking what is being done and what could be done. Who performs each of the procedures within the system? Why? Are the correct people performing the activity? Could other people perform the tasks more efficiently, more effectively? What is being done? What procedures are being followed? Why is that process necessary? Often, procedures are followed for many years and no one knows why. You should question why your procedure is being followed at all. Where are operations being performed? Why? Where could they be performed? Could they be performed more efficiently elsewhere? When is a procedure performed? Why is being performed at this time? Is this the best time? How is a procedure performed? Why is it performed in that manner? Could it be performed better, more efficiently, or less expensively in some other manner? Who, what, where, when, how, and why. Always you question. Typically questions to ask. What business functions are supported by the current system? What strategic objectives and businesses requirements must be supported by the new system? What are the benefits and TCO of the proposed system? What transactions will the system processes? What information do users and managers need from the system? Must the new system interface with legacy systems? What procedures could be eliminated by business process re-engineering? What security issues exist? What risks are acceptable? What budget and timetable constraints will affect system development? The purpose of interview is to understand users' requirements. Interviews is composed of some steps. The first step, determine the people to interview. Second step, establish objectives for the interview. The third step, develop interview questions. Fourth step, prepare for interview. Fifth step, conduct the interview. Sixth step, document the interview. Seventh step, evaluate the interview. First step is determine the people to interview. Select the right people and ask the right questions. Don't rely on just an organization chart. In this step, decide on group or individual interviews. Second step is establish objectives for the interview. In this step, determine the areas to be discussed. List the facts you need to gather. And upper management provides the big pictures. User can give you specific details. And third step is develop interview questions. Decide what to ask and how to purchase the questions. The same question to different people for comparison. Open-ended questions encourages spontaneous and unstructured response. For example, what are users saying about the new system? Or how is this task performed? Did you understand? Yeah. Closed-end questions limit the response. used to verify facts. For example, how many personal computers do you have in this department? Or do you review the reports before they are sent out? Okay. In this step, a range of response questions limit the response user scale. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 the lowest and 10 the highest, how effective was your training? How would you rate the severity of problems? Low, medium, high. First step is prepare for the interview. Careful preparation is essential because an interview is an important meeting and not just a casual chat. Limit the interview to more than 1 hour. And verify time, place, length, and topic via email. Ask the interviewee to have samples available. Fifth step, conduct the interviews. This step, develop a specific plan for the meeting. It begins by introducing yourself, describing the project, and explaining your interview objectives. And you engage the listening, and all the person enough time to think about the question. After an interview, you should summarize the sessions and seek confirmation. The sixth step is document the interview. This step, note taking should be kept to a minimum. After conducting the interview, you must record information quickly. After interview, send a memo to the interviewee expressing your appreciation. Note date, time, location, purpose of the interview, and the main points you discussed so the interviewee has a written summary and can offer addition or corrections. Last step is evaluate the interview. In addition to recording the facts obtained in an interview, try to identify any possible bias. At last, no matter how well you prepare for interviews, some are not successful. Misunderstanding or personality conflict could affect the interview negatively, or the interviewee might be afraid the system will eliminate or changes his or her job. Other fact-finding techniques: documentation review. Review old and current forms and documentation. Observation is seeing the system in action gives you additional perspective and a better understanding of the system procedures. Plan your observation in advance. Consider the Hawthorne effect study. Questionnaire and surveys. When designing a questionnaire, the most important role of all is to make sure that your questions collect the right data in a form that you can use to further your fact-finding. Keep the questionnaire brief and user-friendly. Provide clear instructions that will answer or anticipate questions. Arrange the questions in a logical order, going from simple to more complex topics. Phrase questions to avoid misunderstandings. Try not to read the response or use questions that give clues to expected answers. Limit the use of open-ended questions that are difficult to tabulate. Limit the use of questions that can raise concern about job security or other negative issues. Include a section at the end of the questionnaire for general comments. Test the questionnaire whenever possible on a small test group before finalizing it and distributing to a large group. Sampling is composed of 4 types: systematic sample, stratified sample, random sample. Systematic sample is select every 10th customer for review. Stratified sample is select 5 customers from each of 4 postal codes. Random sample is select any 20 customers. Main objectives of sample is to ensure that it represents the overall population accurately. Research can include the internet, IT magazines, and books to obtain background information, technical materials, and news about industry trends and development. Interview is more familiar and personal. Questionnaire gives many people the opportunity to provide input and suggestions. Documentation records information as soon as you obtain it. Use the simplest recording method. Documentation records your findings in such a way that they can be understood by someone else. Documentation organize your documentation so related materials is located easily. The system analysis phase includes 3 activities: requirements modeling, data and process modeling, and consideration of development strategies. The main objective is to understand the proposed product, ensure that it will support business requirements, and build a solid foundation for the system design phase. Popular team-based approaches include JAD, RAD, and Agile method.